If you've ever wondered how to do a wash, why your washes don't seem to come out right, or even what a wash is in the first place, keep watching. My name is Noreen and I create watercolor paintings, tutorials, and art supply reviews. Today I'm going to explain what a wash is and 4 different ways to create one. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed by clicking the button in the bottom right corner of the screen and click the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. A wash in watercolor is a layer of diluted paint generally applied over a large area. They are most often used for backgrounds and first layers, which help to give depth and dimension to your paintings. There are several different types of washes, all of which can be applied either wet paint on dry paper or wet paint on wet paper. A flat wash is made using one color in an even layer over the entire area. To create a flat wash, make sure you have enough of the color at the intensity that you wish to cover the area for the wash. When creating a flat wash, using a different amount of water will change how the wash looks, creating streaks in the wash. If using a mixed color, not making enough of the mix will have a similar effect. Some areas will be a different shade than when you started. Once you've got your color ready, wet your clean brush completely but not dripping. Get the color on your brush and begin painting across from side to side. It can sometimes help to tilt your paper, block, or pad so the excess paint and water flows downward. Use the brush to pull that line of paint and water down. Get more on the brush as needed and continue to the bottom. The most important thing to remember is that speed is your friend here. Practice on smaller pieces of scrap watercolor paper until you feel comfortable. This isn't a difficult technique to learn, but it does take a little practice at first. Watercolors tend to dry quickly, especially on non-cotton paper, since cellulose paper doesn't absorb and hold the water the same way. Painting your wash too slowly will result in hard edges and streaking. If you see paint pooling at the edges of your tape, tap off your brush on a cloth or paper towel and carefully soak up the excess with your brush. A gradient wash is one where you fade one color out until it is as light as you like it. In this example, we'll be going from full strength to clear water. Just like with the flat wash, this can be done either wet on dry or wet on wet. Also, like the flat wash, you will use the same motion, wide strokes going from side to side. However, in a gradient wash, you will dip your brush in the water as you go along rather than the paint. The goal is not to clean the brush, simply add water to it as you'll be putting it on the paper. If you find that the gradient isn't very strong, you can add more concentrated paint to the top and work your way down. Again, be careful of the paint drying. If you add water or wet paint to a nearly dry area, you'll get blooms instead of a smooth transition. Like before, this can be done on wet paper for a softer look. A variegated wash is where you want to blend one or more colors into each other. This is very useful for landscapes, such as colorful skies featuring sunsets or sunrises. As before, make sure your colors are ready to use before beginning, as you'll want to work quickly. To begin, start with your first color and create a gradient wash where you end at the other side with clear water. Quickly clean off your brush, wet it with clean water, and pick up your second color. Begin creating a gradient wash with your second color at the other end. Remember to dip your brush in the water as you go. Using a clean, wet brush, you can adjust the blend in the middle up or down to your liking by putting your brush on one side of the middle and painting side to side as you move towards the other side. As before, wetting the paper first will give you a much softer look that you can adjust for a bit longer. Finally, a wet on wet wash is simply one where you wet the paper first and then drop in color wherever you like. This is the easiest method to create backgrounds and underpaintings, and there are really no rules here. First, wet the entire area liberally. Then, pick up your paint and touch it to the paper where you want the color to bloom out. You can add as many colors as you like here. The only thing to keep in mind is that if you start moving colors around, you'll end up mixing them on the paper. and if you have any complementary colors, they may create a muddy brown or gray color instead. The idea here is to let the different colors shine through individually as they collide on the page. If you find you have puddles forming, you can mop them up with your brush by dabbing any excess water off the brush on your cloth or paper towel, and then simply touching the brush to the puddle. You'll want to make sure you don't leave any puddles when you're done, or it will affect the softness of the wash in the end. Learning how to create washes is really useful because it helps you to learn water control and gives you a great tool you can use to add dimension, interest, and vibrancy to your paintings. Almost all of my paintings begin with a background wash where I drop colors in to give me a broad idea of where things will be. Keep practicing and you'll master this in no time. If you found this helpful, please leave me a comment, like the video, and make sure you're subscribed. You should also check out my other tutorials and my color mixing series. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!